everything that I was thinking about was actually building loops, building self-maximizing marketing loops.
Alright guys, next up, we have somebody who was part of the founding CXO team at Disney+Hotstar and now leads the marketing and D2C growth at Disney+Hotstar. Please welcome with a big round of applause, Executive Vice President and CMO, Sidharth Shakdher.
Thanks, Anshu. So what I'll do is we'll start with a couple of house rules. At some points the presentation gets a little technical, so house rule number 1, if I get lost in the weeds, please boo me. House rule number 2, there are a couple of ads in there that a lot of you might have seen, so if you don't want to see them again, say no loudly and I'll just move on. House rule number 3, you cannot boo me. So, the thing about this presentation is it was Punita's brief, best-in-class work, your own best-in-class work, somebody else's best-in-class work, and finally bad advice. And once I did all of that stuff, believe me, this was the last slide actually that I made in my deck, because after I completed all the other slides and had thought about everything else, I realized what excited me the most about all of this was the fact that everything that I was thinking about was actually building loops, building self-maximizing marketing loops. And I think that's the most powerful thing. Different organizations will call it by different names. Amazon has this, it's the most famous one I think out of everything else. It's called a virtuous cycle, right? So they're all just different terms for it, but I think the best marketing campaigns are actually able to build self-maximizing loops. And that's what I'll attempt to show over here with some of the campaigns. Okay. Before we get into that, this is the outcome. This is what happens when you're able to do something like that. The bars in blue are actually cricket months. And the other thing, the orange line is MAUs, or to those in the digital world, the monthly active users. And if you see, it starts over a period of 4 years. It goes from about roughly 25 million to about 180 million over 4 years. And that's not the peaks. That's the base that I'm talking about, which is the orange line. The peaks in the blue are of course higher, right? The point about talking about all of this is the peak is a spike. The blue lines are spikes. The orange is your base. It's your business as usual. It's your daily business. It's the one that actually is the heartbeat of your business and keeps your business running. But the blue is the spike, or what we call the funnel. And to get to a healthy orange line, you need those blues, you need those spikes. Those spikes, a more common example for that is if you look at e-commerce, doesn't happen anymore, but it used to happen a lot. That OnePlus sale or that flash sale for mobiles, etc. Those are their spikes, those are their funnel builders, right? So every business has to look for that. Now, building a funnel, 2 things were important for us when we built a funnel. Be the better experience, and 2, maximize the spike, right? And when I say that, when I say be the better experience, we were up against a task where, when you're looking at cricket, people say it's a big spectacle, you need a big screen to be able to watch cricket. Why would I watch cricket on a small screen? Right? So you could fight that all day long and night till the cows come home. But what we realized is, why are you watching it on a big screen? One of the big benefits of watching it on a big screen is that you get a lot of other people to watch with you. There's a human connection element. So if you can actually build a human connection, that takes away that whole thing about the screen is small, the screen is big, because all that people are looking for, actually the most powerful thing is a human connection. And using that, we wanted to reverse the narrative that digital drives people apart. So we made it possible for people when they're watching cricket matches to recognize that their friends are also watching cricket matches on Hotstar, and in doing that, be able to watch cricket matches together. Now IPL is, for example, 60 cricket matches. Even if you want to get your friend in front of a TV 60 days along with you, it's not possible given the lives we lead. But on Hotstar, you could actually watch the match with your friend. Each of those 60 matches, you can do that. And the creative we built, it was interesting because it was based upon local superheroes who had Indian middle class powers, for want of a better term, who were unable to get their friends to watch their match with them. Even superheroes could not do that, right? And so, and there was a subculture of superheroes that was picking up in India. This 4 years back, today superheroes are very big. But we picked up on that subculture and we took a creative leap on that subculture to drive this message. So since nobody said no, I'm going to subject you to it.
हेलो स्ट्रेचमैन, चलना साथ में मैच देखते हैं।
नहीं यार, घर के काम में अटका हूँ।
लेजर बॉय,
नो मचाओ, घर पे गैस खत्म हो गई है।
हेलो,
फिले क्या कर रहा है?
एक सेकंड। पापा के गेस्ट आए हुए हैं यार।
गाड़ी ने ठोक दिया को।
वन वे है यार।
नहीं आ सकता यार, दादाजी का टीवी ठीक कर रहा है।
बेटा ये वाला न्यूज़ लगता है। वीवो आईपीएल देखने का मजा है उम्री कदम नहीं यार, इसलिए हॉटस्टार। इस पे दोस्तों को ऐड करके प्ले करो, चैट करो। सो इस वीवो आईपीएल कोई यार नहीं फा ऑन हॉटस्टार।
अभी पढ़ना है।
So that was how we built the funnel, right? The other thing we did in building the funnel is people follow scores in a match. It's called passive watching because there's life that goes on. They have to balance their love for cricket with life, and so they follow it passively, right? How do we get these people to come in? And I think you have to give them a decision framework which allows them to choose when they want to come in, so that interest that's there can turn into consumption. And the interest is the most powerful when something exciting is happening in a match, which led us to moment marketing. And so what we did is, now this is where it starts getting a little complicated, but what we did is we looked at a match, all historical matches, we graphed the interest, we graphed the viewership levels in a match, we matched it to the social chatter that was going on, and only where we got parallel spikes between the viewership levels and the social chatter, we picked those moments. We further took those moments into a prioritization matrix. So there are moments that are controllable. For example, you know when the 15th over is going to start, you know when the 20th over is going to start. There are moments that are not controllable. For example, fall of a wicket or six that is hit by a batsman. And we built a whole prioritization matrix around that. Based on that prioritization matrix, we came out with about 15 rules. And those 15 rules actually led to 15,000 dynamic creatives that we were able to serve up in real time while the match was going on. And that led to a 200% improvement in our CPCs, and 80 million cricket lovers were reached with these campaigns, so we were able to build that funnel, right? So to give you an example, these are the 15 rules. I mean, these are not the 15 rules, there are many more rules, but this is an example of the kind of creatives that came out. So one of the rules is, for example, a batsman nearing half century. Another rule is strike rate of a batsman going above 150%. Another rule is 2 wickets falling in a row. So there were many rules that came out like this, and based on that, it was a dynamic creative optimization engine that worked in real time to show it up on digital display or static campaigns or performance marketing campaigns or programmatic campaigns whenever something like this happened in a match. And we cheated a little because we could not do this in video. So here's an example.
भाई क्या है ये? 20 छक्के लग चुके हैं, सब्सक्राइब करने में देरी कैसी? Disney+Hotstar VIP सिर्फ $3.99 for 12 months. Subscribe now. स्टंप्स पे स्टंप्स उखाड़ रहे हैं, सब्सक्राइब करने में देरी कैसी? Disney+Hotstar VIP सिर्फ $3.99 for 12 months. Subscribe now.
These ads would actually play when this thing happened in the match. Now, a little bit of jugaad, we cheated a little. I created ads of 10 chakke lag chuke hain, 20 chakke lag chuke hain, and served it up. when the thing happened in the match. But the point is that statics were pretty much running on a dynamic creative optimization engine. And every time we created this funnel, we were able to bring people, it was a spike event that was happening. And the challenge was to convert them into engaged consumers. So we brought them in, again, an eye chart, so I won't go through it. But the point was we brought them in and we iterated through different kinds of recommendations for them. And every time a person converted to a viewer, we negated him and then iterated the recommendations again and showed him another set of recommendations so that they converted from a spike event to an engaged consumer. Right? And the result was, this is the scale of that campaign. We started with 112 million spike event video viewers. We ran the campaign to all of them, and at the end in 2019, over 2 years, we were able to convert 95 million engaged users from 147 million spike event viewers. So that was the scale of the campaign, and I'm sorry, somebody already, I'm through my time, can I run for another minute? Is that okay? Okay. So thank you for running through the Cadbury's ad already, so I don't have to go through the whole case study. But this is what I find powerful, right? Who doesn't love Shah Rukh in ads, right? I don't think this is his best ad, disclaimer. He's done an ad called Sivai Shah Rukh, Thoda Rukh Shah Rukh for some other brand. I can't remember which the brand is, but those were good ads. But in any case, the point is technology plus SRK, and this is the power of this, right? This is the real power of this. You seldom see an ad campaign that actually can talk to end consumer as well as your supply side or your partner, as I call it here. This is an ad campaign that actually sets up a virtuous cycle with talking to your partner who's able to create his own customized ad for his pin code, targeted to his pin code, and that drives demand for the brand who come to the partner who again, gets to kind of show up his ad and drive demand. So it's helping the brand, it's helping the partner, it's inspiring other people to become Cadbury partners, and I think that's really powerful in an ad campaign where you're able to do both of these things. I think all digital marketing campaigns, you have to be able to pivot objectives, right? So if you're looking at a conversion-based campaign, always have an action-based campaign. So for example, your conversion could be a purchase, right? But your action could be an add to cart, your action could be hitting a product detail page, it could be anything. So always know what works better for you for conversion. Driving traffic could work better than an end conversion campaign. And so lower and higher, have the flexibility to move up lower and higher in the funnel with your campaigns. Anybody who knows digital marketing here, and I'm sure a lot of you do, will say, oh, he's talking shit. He doesn't know that if I change my campaign and I pivot halfway, I lose all my learnings, I lose my scale, my CPA goes high. So that's why the next point is paired learning. Always pair your campaign, your main campaign, with another hypothesis, and keep testing another hypothesis with your campaign so that if you ever need to pivot, you can pivot quickly from your main campaign, which could be conversion-based, action-based, higher in the funnel, lower in the funnel, to something different, right? And finally, there is always one message, and I think that should be an insight-based message that you're running to the consumer, but always have tactical objectives below it, right? So if your message is that your product serves this particular need, there could also be sub-segments which are talking about pricing, another sub-segment which is talking about availability, another sub-segment that's talking about convenience. The point is segment, and run these smaller campaigns even if you're running a larger umbrella campaign, and try to find segments that work best and deliver the best results within the larger campaign. So, thank you.